Good morning, guys. MWUSA Season 4, Episode 134. It is a Friday morning. I have high hopes for today, but I'm also kind of in a hurry right now. I need to get to the office to swipe my card so that HR can see that I worked today at the office. And then I will be leaving for my trip for the day. It is still raining from yesterday morning, still raining out, so that's going to make things a little bit more difficult today. Hopefully not as bad as yesterday, because it really got rough there for a while yesterday. And yeah, yesterday was okay. I think I made $800 or $900. It was all right. I mean, better than losing. And we're going to build on it some more today. So far, other than Sunday, it's been a great week. But let's forget about Sunday, keep building on the positive that we have, and keep making money. Right now, it is still very early in the morning. Just left home a little bit ago. We're heading to the office, and then from there, we're going to our first casino. From what I understand, this rain is supposed to stick around all weekend, but I'm not really sure. Right now it is 68 degrees. The high today is supposed to be 78 degrees. It says the chance of rain right now is 11%, but it's raining, so hopefully it clears up and we have a safe drive. We're able to get as much time in as possible. We have 3 meetings today, 2 of them conflicting, so I'll have to check with my boss and see which one he wants me to go to, and we'll do that. I don't care which one it is. Hopefully it's the one that's not the team meeting, and that way I don't even have to be there. I can just have it running, and that'll be fine. So, all right, for now I'm going to let you go, and I'll be back to update you. All right, guys, I'm back. So on days like today, I lose a lot of time just going to the office, checking in and leaving, but you have to have that card swiped to show that you were there that day, so there's no way around it. I was talking to a guy the other day, and I was telling him about what I have to do and all that stuff, and he said he used to work at a factory with a friend of his, and this is back in the 80s, and they would just have those big time clock punch card things, and they would just work every other day, and they would have their friends check them in. So I would work Monday and check you in, and then you'd work Tuesday and check me in, and that way we wouldn't even be at the factory, but they would think that we were at the factory and we'd get paid, because it's a huge place and they don't know who's there and who's not, so that's what they would do. And that's pretty gutsy to do that for years at a factory and still get paid. So they basically had at least 2 days off a week on top of their weekends. So very interesting. Anyway, all right, we just left the office and we are continuing our trip to the first casino, and I'll be back to update you. All right, guys, just leaving here, driving by the license plate scanner. Hello. All right, now I want to mention now, as I've talked about before, I mainly go to about 15 different casinos. So I spread my play around, so I'm not everywhere every day. Obviously less risk, less problems. So one thing I've noticed now is five casinos are now IDing at the door out of those 15. There are some other ones that I go to sometimes are IDing that I'm not even counting in this. So 5 casinos, and most of the casinos now are putting in these new like metal detector scanners, and I published a picture on YouTube of the screen that shows up, and there are like 8 or 10 icons on the screen, and whatever type of metal is in your pocket will pop up, whether it's metal used in weapons or knives or change or whatever it might be. it will pop up on the screen so they know what's in your pockets. Those also have built-in cameras as well, so that's a big deal. So just gotta be really careful where you go and what you do, and what's going on with your name and your face. So that's even more reason for me not to want to get backed off of places, more reason for me to be conservative and last longer, because eventually, as these databases become easier to transmit and cheaper to transmit, then more people are going to have it. Right now, if I go to whatever casino, a Caesars in this city and then a Caesars in another city, those two do not have the same facial recognition. They have facial recognition, but their database is only the database of that location. In the future, right now, if you want to buy facial recognition stuff from a company, you're going to have to pay for databases, and it can get expensive. So you're not going to do that. You're just going to have your own set of house images and house names that you're holding on to in case those people come back. So, but in the future it might get worse. So even more reason not to be a maximizer for me. Now, you go into a place that has one location, doesn't have facial recognition, you're never going to be back again. Who cares? Go nuts. But I go into like a big box place, like a Caesars, a MGM, a Penn Gaming, any of those, Maverick, any of those places, and I just don't want to burn my information. So anyway, I didn't even tell you how it went in there. I'm still talking. One in, didn't find much at all. I found one play. I played that one through, and that's it. I was in and out of there in about 20 minutes, and I ended the session ahead $53. Actually, I thought I was ahead about 20 something dollars, and then I noticed I'd forgotten that I was playing a 2-cent level, so everything was doubled, and I ended up ahead $53. Still raining outside, and we are continuing on to our next casino. Hope to be there in the next hour and 20 minutes, and I will be back to update you. It always sounds like a nightclub in here 24 hours a day. It doesn't matter if it's 6 a.m. or 2 a.m. It always just sounds the same. Anyway, had an interesting blackjack session there. Went to a $15 hit 17, which I normally don't do, and sat down, bought in for 400. The idea of going with my normal 15 to 150 or around that area, but things got a little bit out of control. So like I said, I bought in for that 400. I was the only person at the table. Someone else came to the table right away and started playing, which was a little bit annoying to me, but that was okay. We were doing fine. Everything is good. And then the dealer made a big mistake, and the pit would not support me on it. No matter what I said, he refused to make a ruling on it. And here's what happened. At the time, I was maybe down like 100 or something like that. And there were three of us. There were two of us at the table, and she was just dealing to us like normal. And then another guy comes to the table and puts a quarter down on his spot. And the dealer skips over him and deals me the card, which was a 3. Okay, that's not important, but it was a 3. And so I'm like, okay, well, something's going to happen here. The dealer backs up the card after she dealt it to me and gives it to him. Okay, so I end up with a 10. So now I'm not complaining, but this is still wrong, because for 30-something years, everyone's always said, we don't back cards up. We don't back cards. Oh, sorry, sir. You doubled down on 11, got a 21, but we gave it to that person instead. We don't back cards up. Do you want the 4? And they screw you over every single time. Well, this time, they moved it over to him, and we finished the hand, and everybody loses like a total of like $600 on the table. And I said, you can't do that. You have to keep the card where it is. You can't back it up. No, yeah, we could do whatever. I called it, and then everyone's arguing with me at the table, and I'm like, I can't believe you guys are arguing. Every one of you lost your hand. Every single one of you lost all your money. And the one lady that was there initially left because she was frustrated with that. And so the new guy who just came there to put the quarter on the table, he's like, come on, man, I can't believe we're holding everything up for that. I'm like, we're not holding it up. I'm just asking a question. I mean, I'm allowed to ask a question. For 30 years, I've heard the same thing. We can't back it up. So now all of a sudden, they're backing it up. And then everybody loses. They don't do anything about it. And at the very least, when it's a controversial hand like that, and something happens like that, they push everyone. And now we're not pushing anyone either. And so I called the pit boss over. I said, look, I just want a ruling on this. And he refuses to answer. And I ask him again, he refuses to answer. So at this point, the count was going up. So I'm raising anyway. So it was a perfect time to show frustration and to overbet a little bit. I mean, as far as bankroll, that's not the issue. The problem was moving up that much. So I had about, I don't know, 250 or so in front of me, and put the whole thing out there in frustration, hit the hand, and then it went down a little bit, so I lowered it. You know, it looked like I cooled off a little bit, and continued playing and played through the end of the shoe. But then it started, you know, as we were playing through to the end of the shoe, it started rising again. And so I ended up going 15 to 250 instead of 15 to 125. And I went from being down like 350 or 400 at my low point to being up 905 by the end of the shoe. And I got up and left. But then as I was leaving, this Asian pit boss comes over, and he's like, what are you doing over here? Because he usually sees me in the high limit. And I said, oh, I can't afford high limit anymore, which, you know, I was just there, you know. But anyway, so I explained the situation to him, and he's like, well, I don't know about the day shift, but normally on my shift, we don't back cards up. I said, not just your shift. Every shift at every casino doesn't back cards up, and you know it. And I've known it for 30 years that you don't back cards up. And he's like, well, yeah, definitely on my shift we wouldn't do that, but, you know, it's not my shift. So I'm like, okay, well, whatever. You know, you just robbed somebody and you're willing to steal their money. One more reason to not worry about if you win and you take their money. Don't worry, take as much as you can, because they are garbage. When they know that you're right and they know that it's your money, they will still refuse. He didn't make a ruling. If he had made a ruling, then at least I'm like, okay, from now on, when this happens, you know, dumbass said this, and I can say, hey, dumbass told me this yesterday, and then we could go with that ruling. But to not answer the question at all and to not make a ruling at all, that's just wrong, and that's just cheating, and that's just stealing. And I will continue to take their money, and I don't really care. Whatever. I'm going to just keep on digging and keep on fighting and keep on taking their money, because this is ridiculous. Ended the session up 905. Should have ended the session up more than that. I think, I don't remember if it was a 125 or 150 or something on that hand. But I had originally bought in for that 400, ended up buying in for another 100 to complete a split double-double, which I ended up winning. And anyway, right now we're going to move on. I think I'm going to cash out for now as the shift is about to change and come back in with fresh money and fresh people here and go from there. So that's what's going on right now. You're all caught up on my frustration, and I'll be back to update you. All right, guys, just getting back to my car here. Still very frustrated with that experience. It was definitely done incorrectly. I talked to 2 dealers and a pit boss, and they all agree with me that that was done improperly. No, 2 pit bosses. That it was done improperly, and they should not ever back up cards. We do not back up cards. And the pit boss was definitely protecting the dealer. I have a pretty good idea why. And the other pit boss next to him was protecting the first pit boss, because he's like, I don't know how they do it on this shift, but on my shift we do it this way. So whatever, do whatever you want. That's fine. I ended up making decent money on it anyway, plus 905 on that. But really, that was wrong. That was technically, in my opinion, that was stealing. That was, you go against your normal policy. I understand the guy was in there. He should have gotten the card, but he didn't get the card. And your policy is we don't back it up. We all would have won the hand. Instead, we all lost the hand. And here we are. And then that one guy that just came to the table, then he's all frustrated with me because I'm making a big deal out of it. I lost a lot of money and he lost a quarter, you know, and he's like, are we still doing this? Are we? And then later on, he was my buddy, you know, when I started winning and things were okay again, but still, you know, that's not right. You can't do that to players. You can't take advantage of them. You can't steal from them like that. And unfortunately, I worry about my identity. And I don't want to have any issues, but technically, you know, this is something you can go to gaming on because this is their policy. They've always done it this way, and they changed it the one time to protect the dealer and to not pay the players. So whichever one it is, one or the other, protect the dealer or not pay the players. Both ways, it's wrong, and I'm pretty upset about that. So plus 905 on the blackjack, plus 21 on the slots, and we're moving on right now. All right, guys, I'm back. So kind of in a tough spot right now. Done in this place. Play is over, and I can't get to any other place before my meeting starts, and it's going to be a little time before the meeting starts. I guess the only thing I can do is just start heading in that direction, and then try to find a safe spot to stop to do my meeting. I don't know what else I could possibly do. So I went in and looked at slots and didn't find any plays. Went and played blackjack, bought in for 400, spreading from 25 to 250, and had pretty much low counts all the time. Let me just say that this was a table I normally wouldn't play. It's an 8-deck, stay 17 with about 1.5 cut off. So it's not a disgusting table, but not a good table either. And as you know, by the time counts really start getting good, that's when the shoe usually ends. Something's bothering me. My eye is hurting me. It's hurting me last night when I was sleeping, like maybe got an eyelash in it or something, but it's killing me today. Anyway, I ended up playing just like one or two hands before a guy came to the table. Man, my eye is really bothering me. Wow. And I'll be back. All right, I'm sorry. My eye's killing me. I don't know what happened to it. Anyway, so I ended up playing that table for a little while. After like one or two hands, a guy comes to the table, and he sits down, and I'm like, dude, like, there's like 3 other empty tables here. You got to pick this one. This is the only one that had a new shoe, and it was still neutral, so it wasn't that big of a deal, but I kind of wanted to play by myself to get more rounds in, but start playing, and immediately I'm down a couple hundred, but kind of battle back and just get to a point where things get busy and count is negative, and it's like it's not even worth playing anymore because just have a negative count and too many people at the table. So I ended up walking away from that table ahead 250. At my high, I was ahead about 400. At my low, I was down about 250 or 300, and ended up playing for a little over 20 minutes. So unfortunately, that's all I could do. And right now, I am going to head out toward my next spot, but we're going to stop and do a meeting. Unfortunately, the meeting is an hour long with auditors, so I'm going to have to be in a quiet place away from everybody. So that is what's going on right now, and I'll be back to update you soon. All right, guys, I am back. That was an exhausting experience, but it all worked out in the end, so that's what matters, right? I go to this table. It's a $50 minimum table. I buy in for 400, I believe. Buy in for 400 and play with that for quite a while, actually. And then count starts going up, and that's like prime time, right? It's like all that stuff is practice, and then the count goes up, and it's time to get on the field and defend. So I lose the 400, buy in for 300, buy in for another 300, and then we get into the shoe where things start to explode and the counts go supernova, and I'm raising and losing and raising and losing, and like it was like a really, really bad start to true 2, true 3, true 4, and then I started winning and winning and winning, and then I had 2 pit bosses standing there all of a sudden, and then I started losing again. They walk away. It's like they're so fickle. They think like if you're losing, you can't be counting, and if you're winning, you must be counting, or some stupid thing like that. And then another guy comes to the table, and then another guy comes to the table, and the first guy is wrecking everything. He's doing all the wrong stuff, aggravating me, which he shouldn't, and he's going one hand, two hands. He changes, the dealer gets a blackjack, changes back, dealer gets a blackjack again. I'm like, these people, side bets, side bet universe. All these people love their side bets. Change for a quarter, change for a quarter, change for 100, change for a quarter. Gets changed for a quarter, he's betting 15 on the side bet and the other 10 on his bet. Then he needs change again because he just spent all his nickels. Why don't you get $50 in nickels and play those? I don't understand why you got a nickel and dime every hand, and like every hand is like a big decision. It's like you're not changing the card. Just do what you think is the right thing to do and just make the money or lose the money. That's the way it is. I'm sorry, but that's life. You're not going to change the card by thinking about it. Well, when the other guy comes to the table and he plays a hand or two, I just got up and left, and at that point I was down 2,400, and I went to another table, empty table, and with this lady, real nice lady, who likes to beg you for tips, but real nice lady, and played there, bought in for 1,000 at that table, and was getting serious right away. Count actually went up right away on the first shoe. And by the end of the first shoe, I was already ahead 2,000. And normally I'd be out of there by then, especially since they didn't see what happened at the other table. They think I'm up 2,000 for the day, right? I'm not playing rated. They don't know what the heck's going on. All of a sudden, just like that, I made $2,000. I stay there and start the next shoe, and the next shoe is just chopping back and forth. Chop, 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 chop. Mine, his, mine, his, mine, his. And the count's going up and still chopping back and forth. Then this count starts going down, and I'm like, I think I'm going to get out of here pretty soon, because the count's starting to get worse and worse, and it gets to 0, and then it starts going negative, and now it's -1, -1.5, almost minus true 2, and it picks back up a little bit at the end, and I end up leaving with about a deck to go in the shoe, plus, is this right? This can't be right. Yeah, this is wrong. I end up leaving plus 2,900, not 3,900, plus 2,900 on that shoe, and so overall between those two sessions, minus 24 plus 29, I'm plus 500. It was agonizing, but between the two sessions, it was a little over an hour, and just very frustrating sometimes. I've been over this before. The count's going up and up and up, and you get 9 little cards in a row, and you're like, where's the big card going to come? And then you get a 20 on the next hand. You're like, okay, I'm good. Dealer turns over a blackjack. That's where the big cards are. So, but what are you going to do? And that's always the worst. When you get a 20, or you have 2 hands of 20 and the dealer has a blackjack, you kill the count and you lose both hands. Oh yeah, and at the end of the one shoe, when I lost the 2,400 on that table, I had some really big counts, and I get an ace 8 against an ace for like 600, and I insure it, and the dealer has it. And then I have an ace 9 against the dealer ace, and the dealer has it, and the count goes up. And I have a 20 against the dealer ace, and I insure it, and the dealer doesn't have it, and then I push the hand. Oh, that hurts. You know what I mean? You push with all that money, that $1,000, because like 600 plus 3, 600 plus 3, and then you have a big hand, and you insure it, the dealer doesn't have it, and then the dealer pushes you. What's worse is when the dealer doesn't have it and then they beat you. I guess I shouldn't complain because it could be even worse if that happened, but could have been better. Wish I didn't have to lose that 2,400 to win the 29, but again, if I hadn't lost that, I probably would have left that table plus 11 or 1,200. And so anyway, all right, we are heading out of town. We are leaving an hour and 40 minutes late, and we're moving on to another casino. It's rush hour already. Rush hour starts a little early here, but I need to get out of town here, and I need to get some food eventually today. It's already 4 o'clock, so I'm gonna move on here to the next casino. And I did stop and get gas before this past casino, and I think I may have enough to get home. So anyway, letting you go for now, and I'll be back to update you soon. All right, guys, I am back. I walk in this place busy, which is expected for a Friday afternoon, Friday early evening, and walking around, looking around, nothing here, nothing there. Everything looks like it's hopeless. I see the people who are beggars asking for money. I see the people who are rich blowing their money. I see the people who are okay APs who are looking and looking and looking and can't find anything. And then I go to the high limit area, look around there, see nothing. And then there were 3 machines in the carousel, and I wasn't able to check them before. I check one of them, it looks pretty good. I go check another one, there's nothing there. Go back to the first one. Now, I was going back to the first one no matter what. I just wanted to make sure nobody was getting it. So I was right there. I had 1 foot there, 1 foot by the other one. And it was a $3 a spin play, and it was a 2-part thing. And hit the first part, and it paid pretty well. And then hit the second part, and that one hit pretty well. And I had put $100 in that machine. That was the first thing that I had played. And I cashed out, drum roll, $601.05 for a profit of $501. So it was very nice. That's the only play that I made in there. And you know what I was thinking is, I communicate with a lot of friends now from this podcast, people that I've met and gotten to know, and really nice people and stuff. And why not just let them share this stuff with me? I can share with them, they can share with me, and we can share with each other. For now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start uploading some of the videos to the YouTube and keep it private and only let a couple people look at it. And then later on, I think I'm just going to have a private YouTube where we share stuff, because if you're on Discord and things like that, it's a big pain in the butt. And if you have a private YouTube, then you can share a full video. Discord, you got to pay extra to upgrade over 50 megs or 20 megs or some stupid thing. This way, we can communicate with each other more and be in touch with each other more, see more plays, see how other people did on them and stuff like that, instead of just a picture at the end and, you know, depending on just that. So right now, we are heading out and toward home, and it's been a long one. It's getting late right now. It's been hazy the whole week. Hopefully the weekend is better. We have a party this weekend, so hopefully everything is going to be okay for that. That's going to be on Sunday. Last I heard, it was like an 85% chance of rain during that. There's enough room inside and there's tents outside, but hopefully we don't have to depend on that. Let me see if I can put in where I live into this here and look at the weather. So till 2 a.m. then you can go further, and Saturday and Sunday, yeah, it's getting better. Yeah, it's in the 50s and 30s, so it might be all right. Hang in there. Help is on the way. It's okay. When I was going to college, there was a guy always standing on the street corner with a container, and he's shaking it with it was like a paper cup, I think, if I remember right. And he'd have a little bit of change in there, and he'd jingle it when you walk by, and he'd say, "Help is on the way." And there we go. Help is on the way. Hopefully that it won't rain. It's funny to think back to a lot of those things. We can do some of our segments right now. What did you eat today, MW? And unfortunately, I really not much. I had a candy bar this morning. I had some beef jerky. I had a couple 0-calorie drinks. Really not much else, which is probably not good. I spoke to my wife a little bit ago before I hit this last casino, and she says she's making something good. So I'm just gonna head on home. It's only a few more hours away, and hopefully, I think I'm okay. I'm not gonna be too hungry. So hopefully traffic holds up and we'll be good. So I can't rate anything. The beef jerky, I'm giving it a 10 or a 9. They're slacking a little. I like the peppered jerky, and sometimes all the peppers on the bottom of the container. It's like, come on, guys. I'm paying whatever it is for this stuff, $30, whatever it is, a pound for this stuff. Have it be good at least. Don't let it be just like okay stuff. Have it be good. Now, I got this cop right here in front of me. So I got to slow down, pretend I'm doing the speed limit. So I'm slowing down to like 3 over the speed limit, because everybody knows you do over the speed limit. I mean, come on. I'm not going to do like 1 mile under just for him. There, he didn't come out. I mean, what are you scared of? Don't live a little bit here. So anyway, so yeah, the jerky's been kind of slacking. I like it with a little bit more black pepper. I wish I could find a company to buy it from, like maybe through Amazon or a small business somewhere that's going to be good, and I can just buy that and depend on it, because I hate stopping at these places where sometimes it's good, sometimes it's okay. I don't like that. Sometimes they put the wrong thing in the wrong bin. It just drives me nuts. Don't get me started on this. We don't need a rant. Just tell us what you ate, damn it. Anyway, and what did you tip today, MW? And this morning, if you recall, I'm gonna remind you here. This morning there was a problem on the blackjack table, and on that table, I believe I won $905. But it was during the shift change, and it really aggravated me that this dealer screwed it up, and the pit boss covered for her. And everybody I've talked to so far says you should have called gaming. I think that may be going overboard if I'm trying to preserve who I am. But overall, I think it's still right that gaming should have gotten involved. If I was just a regular guy and I didn't care about preserving who I am, gaming should have gotten involved, because you can't have different standards just whenever you feel like it. And everybody I talked to, and I even talked to some people this afternoon, and they all agree with me that they did that wrong. They should have refunded everybody's money if we lost. If we won, they should have let us keep it. It was a dead hand from the beginning. Or at least give you the option and say, look, do you want the hand or not? Because, once you pick, it's happening. So that's what I think they should have done. But I saw that lady on at my last session, because I came back around and I hit that casino again, and that's where I had that $2,900 win. And she was on the pie gow table, and she was listening in as I was talking to the other dealer. And anyway, I tipped her nothing. I mean, be serious here, lady. This is people's money. We're talking about maybe $600 or more was on the table by various people, and you screwed them out of that money. Now, you know what? I'll be fair here and say, if she had dealt it the correct way, we would have lost anyway. Okay, so you want to prove your point and say that we shouldn't have the money because we would have lost it anyway? That's not what happened, though. What happened is she skipped the person, and she went back to the person, and that is not allowed. You had already turned the card over, it was already in front of me, and then you backed it up, and you ended up getting a 20, and everybody lost all their money. So don't tell me that. I mean, you got to be fair and have the same standard for everyone. So I'm sorry, but she got nothing from me. And then I had another session. I think I made like $250. And that session, really not much was going on. I was aggravated when I got to the table. I was short on time. I wasn't finding the things I wanted. I had to settle for an 8 deck instead of a 6 deck, although it was day 17, which is nice. And 3-2. Believe me, I look these days because they're throwing those in everywhere. They don't write 3-2 on the table anymore like they used to. In a lot of these places, they have a little computer screen, and whenever it gets busy, they flip that thing over to 6-5 and screw people, so be careful. They want your money now. They don't want you staying around having fun like they used to. They don't want to keep you. They want you, just a revolving door. Dump your money and get the heck out. That's what they want now. So anyway, and so that session I tipped 0 as well, because plus I told them I was way down when I wasn't. So it's kind of hard to tip when I was way down like that. And then third session was the one where I lost 2,400, and that was extremely aggravating. I had to cover a blackjack. I had to take insurance 3 hands in a row. And then the last session was the one where I won 2,900. And the way I explained it to the guy is I needed to win another 100 to get even, but it was like 5 or 6 hands where I was 100 away from that number, which he didn't understand what the truth was. I said I needed to get to 4,000. I'd bought in for 1,000. So I tried 4 or 5 times, probably, maybe 6 times, and never got to that number. I said, I can't tip you. I'm down still. You understand, right? Oh yeah, I understand. I know what it's like to be down. Good, because you're probably never going to get a tip from me. So tip 0 on that one. And what did you learn today, MW? I learned that it reaffirmed, maybe not learned, but reaffirmed that casinos are crooks and criminals, and they'll cover each other's backs before they stand up for the truth. And a friend of mine who's a pit boss is very, very, very upset with the casino that he works at, and he tells me, he's like, the manager in HR is black, and there was a dealer who was misbehaving, causing all kinds of trouble, and I was forced to write her up, he said, and she got nothing because he's a different ethnicity and they don't care about him and they help each other out. And I'm like, yeah, maybe he's not telling me the whole story, but I see that all kinds of bad stuff happens in these places, man. Just because you have cameras around doesn't mean it's going to make people decent. What makes people decent is being decent, not working for a place and being forced to be decent. Because if you're not a decent person, you'll steal when you get a chance to steal, where a lot of people will not steal when they get a chance to steal because they're ethical people. Now, if you overpay me, I'm not stealing, but I'm just saying, like, rob someone, take someone's stuff that's not yours. But some of these people, and the people who seem to last the longest in these places, a lot of these people have no heart. I mean, there's a pit boss today, and she is such a nice person, and she really feels for you when you lose, and she tells you, and she's like, man, I hope you do better, and she really means it. That's a decent person. Other people, they're like, oh, that's the game, And I understand that you see it every day, and you see stupid people dumping money every day, but to some people it actually hurts and it affects their life. And a lot of these guys don't have any emotion with that. And although you need to be a little bit tough-skinned when you work in that industry, sometimes you got to be empathetic too if you ever want the people to come back to your casino. Anyway, so I learned that, reaffirmed that some of these people are not good people, and they'll cover up lies and steal your money as long as their person doesn't get in trouble. And that old lady dealer was that person, and she was dealing pie gow to nobody, I might add, when I was playing that last table and won that 2,900. So anyway, that's that. So right now we're heading home, still have a couple more hours of driving to do, so I'm gonna sit back and relax. And there's some news streams that I watch every day, and I've been watching Daniel Negreanu every day. I usually do only during the World Series, and I'm gonna do all that stuff. I'm gonna pack up my laptop because it's way after 5 o'clock and it still looks like I'm working, and we're gonna head toward home. So if you have any questions or comments, my email is mwusa21@gmail.com, mwusa21@gmail.com. I'll see you on Sunday, and see you next time.